Our group explored the effects of second language acquisition on human cognition and how learning languages at different ages can change the way we think. First, we'll discuss acquisition at a young age. At a young age, the cognitive processes behind learning multiple languages differ from those behind learning only one language. In many cases, these processes are slowed and can lead to differences in how the semantic networks of bilingual and monolingual children develop. 254 English-speaking monolingual and 181 bilingual children were tested and timed on their spontaneous production of 430 different words per each language they learned. The data from the form was used to track how quickly children were learning each language and examine whether there were patterns of development in both learning situations. The study found that bilinguals learn words at an average of 10 months slower than monolinguals do, and found that because of bilinguals' preference of translational equivalence, or words with the same meaning in both languages, their semantic networks expanded faster than those of monolinguals. Although learning multiple languages is delayed, the connections between the semantic networks make it so that the languages can be better used and related than in the case of languages learned later in life. Another study by Kalamala and his team focused on the effect of second language acquisition on cognition in young adults. The bilingual group learned Polish, which was their second learned language, relatively late. The monolingual group consisted of those who were native speakers of Polish. Both groups had to perform an attentional network task, where participants of this task are given a flanker conflict. In this conflict, participants had to find the target stimulus while ignoring flanking stimuli. The target stimulus is an arrow in the middle facing one direction. Flanking stimuli were arrows facing either in the same or different directions of the target stimulus. The point of this task is to resolve the conflict of different responses from the target and flanking stimuli. Being able to do so indicates efficiency in executive control. The study showed that the bilinguals were better able to tell the difference between the target stimulus and flanking stimuli, showing that bilingual groups had an advantage in being efficient with executive control. The bilinguals in the study may have used a specific task performance strategy. In other words, they had a better ability for conflict resolution compared to monolinguals. Further, the usage of such acquired second language in certain situations seems to change the way we make moral decisions. One example given is the trolley dilemma, in which the participant is told to imagine he or she is in charge of a trolley. Down one train track are 5 people, while the other has 1 person. The dilemma is whether or not the participant will change the direction of the trolley to save the 5 people, or leave the trolley on its original track and save the 1 person. Although both native and second language speakers were heavily in favor of throwing the switch, results showed that participants were 26% more likely to make the utilitarian choice and throw the switch if using a foreign language. This supported the hypothesis that those speaking a foreign language have increased emotional distance. It is possible to conclude that human cognition, specifically the decision-making process, is affected by the ability to speak a second language, and that this decision-making process is altered by the time at which the language is acquired. For example, somebody who learned multiple languages at birth may be more likely to respond with the same result in all languages, not varying as in the case before. The studies reviewed in this video all imply that language does impact cognition to a significant extent. The speed of language acquisition, levels of preference for motion completion, and decision-making processes are all components impacted by language acquisition. The languages that we use in our daily lives have more impact on our cognition than we are aware of.